not fucking happen. Their membership is down, their money is down. We've pretty much hurt them in almost every fucking way.
So how much membership do you think you've cost them so far?
Their stats
According
are
to
the
my
lowest they've
precise
ever been.
calculations that I've done by interviewing every single Scientologist that's in the org that I'm completely making up right now.
Actually, we get varied reports. I mean, I've heard that they were down fucking 40%. I don't believe it. I think it's way more around 10 to 20, and their membership is almost slowed to a halt as far as new signups.
In terms of
How many members reported worldwide do they have?
They, in actuality, have
what, somewhere in the
like
100,000
No,
or something?
they say fucking over 100,000, but I think it's
No,
way
they
closer
say
to
over
what-
8 million, but
Oh, right,
they're
right.
a bunch of
And
lying
then the other
jerks,
they
so
say something else, and the other they say something else, but we think it's anywhere between 50 and 100,000, yeah.
They say 8 million because anybody who's ever taken one of those stress tests, the little carts on the street, ever bought a book, maybe even ever walked into the org, they consider you a Scientologist, which is
Yeah.
why they can claim such ridiculous numbers. If you've ever taken a stress test on the street, you're a Scientologist in
yeah,
their eyes.
apparently I'm a Scientologist.
They were doing a stress test out here yesterday.
Well,
Oh yeah, this is
you
actually
take
one of
it?
their. This is one of their little camping spots that they do. Their little stress test tables. Apparently, what they consider you when they consider you a member, even if you're not actually considering yourself a Scientologist, they count into your numbers. They count into their numbers if you ever pretty much gave your name and address and all that other stuff to them. You know, to get a book or to find out more about it. I mean, for example, I've gone into the org and I've questioned them about a lot of their policies, and you know, actually, I think it was not getting going today.
Nice.
You know, I've gone in there and I've questioned their policies. I've gotten information about, you know, a lot of their stuff just to see exactly, you know, what they're doing in there. And now, unfortunately, I go home every month and I get a ton of mail with, hey, I want you to sign up for this course, or I want you to buy this book. So, you know,
Hold on.
they're considering all those. They're considering all those people that go in there and, you know, ask about their books or ask about their little cult there. They're considering them members, and that's what they're counting into their numbers that they don't post on their website.
We have an apparent question, I guess.
Pretty much, there we go. Yeah. So I just want to say you guys are making a big impact. I'm from Miami, Florida. We run a website called federaljack.com. We have a YouTube page, so you know I've been covering what you guys have been doing, adding stuff to our YouTube page as a favorite, and people have been contacting me in like West Palm Beach, and North Florida, which is where Scientology is based out of, and they're talking about family members being seriously involved in mind control, and they had to break. And it's not just Scientology, also different other cults. A lot of them are like the Age of Aquarius type folks, the New Age, and I mean it's mind control. Also, they're robbing them blind. So this is branched off into like, oh, this makes money. Fuck, I'm gonna do it too. And it's hurting people. It's destroying lives. But I had a question about Sea Org. This is something when I was researching because of what you guys are doing. They have a naval force called Sea Org. Yeah. They actually have a naval ship with an army. How the fuck is that legal?
They consider it a naval ship. It's really just for decoration.
Well,
It's a cruise ship full of blue asbestos.
yeah, it was recently shut down because after something like 20 years after the fact, they investigated the ship. Structural designer, architect, some sort of naval engineer came onto the boat, said, "You got to shut this down. It's full of blue asbestos." 20 years later, they actually had to go in and get a government check, and guess what they found? It was full of blue asbestos. So,
Doesn't just go away.
No, it doesn't.
It's the worst kind of asbestos there is. Even just a single molecule, a small hook in your lungs is basically a guaranteed cancer 10 years down the line. They've threatened the lives of hundreds upon thousands of their members, and they haven't told anybody about this because L. Ron Hubbard said that asbestos is not bad for you at all.
He also said cigarettes are a great way to prevent lung cancer.
That's why so many Scientologists smoke, by the way. If they're telling you not to do anything because you have toxins in your body, that's something also nice. I'm going to use this as a quick tangent because I've really strayed far from what I was going to talk about. But in terms of toxins, something that is a new one that I learned about only maybe about maybe a month and a half ago, something that they love to do around disaster sites, including our very own 9/11 disaster site, is they will use their volunteer ministers, which is a group that's, you'll see them in yellow shirts.
Right.
And they're called volunteer ministers. They registered the volunteer ministers at the 9/11 disaster site in New York as the National Mental Health Assistance, which in the heat of the moment sounded remarkably close to the National Mental Health Association, which is a real organization that's not Scientology. However, they registered the volunteer ministers as the National Mental Health Assistance, and they intentionally blocked 9/11 rescue workers and victims from receiving free psychiatric care because they believe psychiatry is evil. They would literally take members of their church and tell them all, this is very important, and something to keep in mind, Scientologists generally exceptionally good people who are horrendously misguided. They're calling up the entire New York area membership, anybody probably who's ever come in, and saying, come on, this is a national crisis, get the hell down here. And these are good people, so they do. And they would literally pen off psychiatrists with their members so that no rescue workers could get care because they believe it's evil. And
They believe psychiatrists did the Holocaust.
Yeah, in short, they believe psychiatry is responsible for the Holocaust. So that's, you know, their history is really...
Speech has been derailed.
Yeah, speech has been derailed. And in the meantime, they told them to go to the Scientology Narconon centers to get the purification rundown, which involves taking a toxic dose of niacin for your liver. That's always something good if you have detox problems. Toxic dose of niacin that'll cause flushing in the skin. They tell you that's radiation leaving your body. That's a nice lie they tell you as you're damaging your liver permanently. And this is shit that they're doing to rescue workers, and you know, just breaks my heart and makes me pissed, and I think it should make you pissed too, because this is ridiculous. This is not something that we want going on anywhere, let alone in our city. I was going to talk about if you wanted to come out with us sometime, because we're out often, and we usually in New York, because we have so much fun and we like each other so much, we go out just about every week, probably every Saturday, sometimes midweek, sometimes a few times a week. Occasionally we'll miss a week, but there's always a monthly worldwide protest event. And you know, if you just come in there blind, you might be a little bit surprised. You might be a little bit shocked by sort of the demeanor, the language. Certainly if you're hearing us today and you didn't understand the relationship, you might think that we all hated each other. That's only the case sometimes, especially after we just shipped back up from Washington, D.C. because we were marching on the mall. And we spent a lot of time with each other, so, you know, I don't like these guys so much at the moment.
I don't like you either, sure.
You weren't there, but I don't like you anyway.
I still like Pokemon.
No, you don't.
So yeah, if you just heard us, you'd think that we're really crass and crude and confusing and
You'd be right.
And you would be 100% correct. We are. The difference is that there's absolutely no hateful intentions behind it. This is stuff that's done mostly for shock value. I think that this comes out of sort of the internet lending itself to anonymity in its forms, just in that in that there are web forms, and looks like I'm running over, but that's what happens when you jerks start messing around with me.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. So listen. Skipping ahead to the end, you can try and understand us. Chances are you won't, because I don't understand us. We're a bunch of nice people or party people. You know, we come out, do our thing, have a good time, and in the process we get to damage a cult. So, I don't know. What are you doing with your weekend? That's better than that. That's it for me.
I guess we'll just do questions from the audience for the last 7 minutes, maybe?
How many people have shown up for your worldwide protest?
I mean, it's all based on estimates, but we've reached. I think we've.
On average, usually 200 to 150.
Yeah.
In New York.
That's in
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just in New York. Worldwide,
actually-
I believe February, it was probably in February. I believe it reached, between February and March, I believe we've had well over 8,000 worldwide.
In fact, maybe over 9,000.
Yeah, could be over 9,000.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark somewhere.
It's at least 100.
So it's at least 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you guys can help me out with sort of the Scientology trivia question I've had for a while.
Yeah.
Back in about '99, it came out that Scientology was running net nannying software that they were recommending for all of their members, where they're like, you can't look at things
Spy
with this
Center.
word or that
Right.
word.
Right.
And one of the things, it was reasonable things like they don't want you to see Xenu, which is the name of the ostensible deity. They
Yeah,
don't want you
they're
to see
alien.
Clambake, because that's Operation Clambake, which has been looking to uncover Scientology for a while. The one that got me when I looked at this list was the word poodle. And I'm wondering if you have any idea why they don't want you to see the word poodle. Poodles are evil. I mean, we all know that poodles are evil.
I
but
heard
like,
that.
Fluff contains thetans.
That Xenu's face actually looked like a poodle's asshole. So.
Next question.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
No poodles,
have you
please.
actually physically fucked around with the cans that they have when they do the stress test?
The e-meter. He's talking about the e-meter they use for the
Right.
stress tests.
Yeah, because it basically is like a basic lie detector. So if you know how to regulate your pulse, you can really prove how these things do not work, which I've
Right.
done to some grads.
The
Yeah.
yeah, they actually are legally obligated to put an FDA warning on those
Right.
e-meters that they do nothing.
Right, and
Somebody had sex with
and I
a
just
pair of
wanted to
e-meters.
I just
Sorry.
wanted to say that as soon as that awesome and hilarious Fox video came out, I was one of the first people to break it, mainly on PLA. We've supported you ever since. We've blocked their phones and come to your stuff. And I just want to say that if you have any targets in the future, just please leave the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Latter-day Saints alone, because we're having as enough fun with them as it is. So thank you.
Awesome.
Over there. I don't know if you want to put it in.
Next.
Okay, next question. What's with all the V for Vendetta masks? How did those come to pass? I
Sam, you
mean,
want
they're
that
a
one?
good anonymous, but
Damn, sister, somebody? I don't want to do this one.
You have to do this
Yes.
one.
All right.
We don't
This
know.
one. Okay. Before any of this fucking started, it was kind of a, it was a joke on some of the messages. It comes from some older internet shit. It's kind of a long fucking story. Like, really, I think what it got adopted into was that whole idea of the anonymity, you know, people standing up for something, you know, right and all of that bullshit, but really, actually, it was just another internet thing.
It's a little bit about both.
Yeah, it's
Everybody's favorite, also.
So, can you tell me why what you're doing is any different than an attack against Christianity or Islam or Judaism, without using the cop-out that it is a cult, because all major organized monotheistic religions have long histories of doing terrible things in the name of their gods? How is what you are doing any different than an attack on, say, Muslims or Jews? Or
Because these attacks are happening now. Scientology is undergoing these criminal acts right now. If I had a time machine to go back 1,000 years and I didn't have better things to do with it, yeah, maybe I'd do shit about the Crusades. But you know what? Right now, we're the thing that's standing. Because here's the thing, and this is something Scientology is bringing up. I'm sorry. But here's the thing, they bring this up, but you know what? In the Crusades, they had fucking Turks with swords to stand up against that shit. You know what? We're the fucking Turks. That's it. We're the ones stopping this fucking expansion of this crazy cult.
Right answer, thank you.
Oh, sweet. No soap for you. Next.
Hey, when you were talking about Sea Org, the Navy,
Right.
Lord.
I'd heard from someone who I guess had bullshitted some Scientologists and got some info about Sea Org from them. He said that if you do sign up for Sea Org, then your contract is for all your
billion-year
incarnations.
It's not for your entire life. It's for,
For
I
your-
believe
A
it's
billion
1
years.
billion years.
Yeah, so would it
Your
be
life and all your next lives.
so would it be possible to go up to them and say
I signed it in the 70s and got fucking
Yeah,
killed and
exactly.
all that.
Which- and-
It
and-
never works. They'll have to do it through auditing and shit.
Besides, why would you want to?
Yeah.
infiltration? I don't know. I'm just saying, would it be possible?
Well, yeah, more or less. I mean, they would have to like confirm it with auditing and all sorts of bullshit. But if you just walk, especially now after like with them all up in arms about us, they would know that you're just fucking with them.
Okay.
Also, that would mean they keep their word and obligations.
Right.
Excellent point.
Yeah, they have lawyers scared of that shit.